Canelo Alvarez weighs in at 167 and 1/2 pounds, 167 and 1/2.
Same that everybody else been saying since I moved to 147, I ain't fought nobody. Every last one of them stump a mud hole in their ass and he gonna be next. Watch.
Canelo versus Crawford is heating up like a pot left on high with no lid. Forget calm face-offs. These two are treating every press conference like round one. The air's so thick with tension you could slice it with a jab, and trust me, the verbal shots are landing just as clean as the punches will on fight night. Man, remember that NYC presser where Crawford tried to shove Canelo? Yeah, that's the exact second Canelo's respect for Bud got sent to the shadow realm.
What I don't respect about Crawford, his work. He say, I'm not gonna do anything I don't want it, or somebody tell me I need to do, and he do it in that. He tried to back me up, not pushing me, but back me up, and that's why I push him.
And now Canelo's out here saying it wasn't even Bud's idea. Turki Alalshikh whispered in his ear like, "Go push him, bro." Like, what is this? WWE tryouts or a championship presser? Canelo ain't buying the fake smoke. He straight said, "If you mess with me, it's different." And you could tell he meant every syllable.
Push you pushed him back. Is that animosity building, or it's just part of the moment?
You know me. No, I'm not fake. I don't like to do that kind of stuff. I always respect my opponents, but they with me, so it's different, you know. What I think is Turki Alalshikh told him, "Hey, you need to do something. You see so nervous in Riyadh in the press conference, right?"
Yeah.
Here's the funny part. Crawford straight up laughed at Canelo boiling over like a kettle. Man didn't even flinch, just grinned like, "That's cute, champ." Bud basically treated that push like a mosquito bite, annoying, but not enough to scratch. And now he's telling folks he doesn't even need a knockout to beat Canelo? That's a cold flex. Like, I'm not here to blast you out, I'm here to box circles around you while you swing at air.
After the press conference with the push, what was your reaction to that?
I just laughed at it, as you can see. You know, I love things like that. You know, it excites me. I'm more motivated than ever now.
Meanwhile, Canelo fans are out here stressing like their Wi-Fi just went out mid-Netflix binge. And the best part? Crawford said, "When I win, not if." That's confidence bordering on disrespect, like showing up to a job interview, already wearing the company hoodie. Man, this is where the press conference stopped being polite and turned into straight-up ego warfare. Canelo looked Bud in the eyes like, "You're a good fighter, but me, I'm great."
Is you a good fighter or a great fighter? Let me know.
I'm a great fighter.
So you got your ass whooped by a good fighter, right?
You're a good fighter.
I'm saying.
But I'm great.
Okay.
And the way he doubled down, it wasn't confidence. It was him saying, "I've been in your shoes before, and they don't fit right, champ." Then came the Bivol bomb. Crawford hit him with, "Every time you step up, you lose." Basically reminding everyone that Dimitri Bivol turned Canelo into a frustrated redhead trying to solve calculus.
You're gonna find out.
That means you're a good fighter and Bivol is a great fighter, right?
And question.
Well, every time you stepped up, you lost. Great fighter.
I'm not.
Bro, that's not trash talk, that's career talk. You could feel the air shift. This wasn't promotion, this was pride. And now, this fight ain't just about belts, it's about erasing ghosts. Canelo wants to bury that Bivol memory, and Crawford wants to prove he's the real great fighter.
Listen, like I always said, I'm a big fan of Canelo. He's a great fighter, but I think I'm better.
And just when you thought the heat couldn't crank up any higher after that press conference clash, here comes Hearn sliding in with the promoter logic. He's basically saying, "Look, Canelo don't even want this fight like that, because if he beats Crawford, you're gonna say, so what, he was smaller." And honestly, he's not wrong. Boxing fans are picky like restaurant critics.
I don't think it's a fight Canelo really wants, if I'm honest, because I think he feels like he won't get a lot of credit beating a light middleweight. And Crawford's going to move a lot in that fight, which is not ideal for Canelo.
You beat a legend, they'll say he was old. You beat a smaller guy, they'll say he was undersized. it's never enough. But Eddie also knows if Bivol keeps shining at 175, that's the real smoke Canelo has to walk through. And let's be real, that man already gave Canelo a math lesson once. So yeah, Eddie's playing chess while we're all yelling checkers.
I mean, like, you know, if Bivol wins, he could fight him for undisputed. That's a very tough fight. What's the other options? You know, Benavidez is up at 175. Obviously, His Excellency wants to make that fight, so guess we could see it next.
And while Eddie Hearn is over here playing matchmaker, like it's fantasy boxing, Stephen Fulton jumps in, sounding like the voice of the fighters. He's rocking with Crawford, not because of the money talk, but because Bud's got that daredevil DNA. He's willing to step up and test himself against giants. Fulton's basically saying, yo, I respect anybody crazy enough to fight uphill battles, because I've done the same thing. And you know what? He's right. If Crawford pulls this off, that resume don't just get better, it gets legendary, like the kind of thing you tell your grandkids about.
I've always went with Crawford this fight. It's nothing against Canelo, because Canelo's a hell of a fighter. I don't know how he is as a person, neither the guy, I don't know how neither of them are as a person, but I like Crawford for challenging himself. Like, that's the type of things I do and I've done, so I like anybody that's willing to challenge themselves.
What I love here is Fulton breaking it down simple. Use your boxing brain, stay sharp, and don't let Canelo drag you into a slugfest. That's wisdom right there, because if Crawford tries to go power for power, he's walking into the lion's den. But if he keeps it slick, keeps it smart, then all of a sudden, the little guy turns into the problem nobody can solve. And Fulton's not hyping. It's a fighter talking about another fighter's mindset, and that hits different.
Whether it's money or not, you still have the heart to go in there and challenge the bigger guy. So, but I think it's gonna be. I think if Crawford uses his boxing ability, then it'll be a better fight for him.
Alright, so Fulton was giving Crawford his flowers for stepping up. And now George slides in like that one friend who flips the whole barbershop debate upside down. You can hear it, he's torn. 1 second leaning Bud, next second leaning Canelo, like he's switching teams mid-argument just to keep the smoke alive. And honestly, I get it. We're all guilty of that "nah bro, I changed my mind" moment after watching a couple highlight reels at 2 AM. But George breaks it down like a chess match. If Canelo turns on that pressure cooker, it's lights out. If Crawford stays slick and makes Canelo chase shadows, then hey, the judges are calling his name.
Going is Canelo is the pressure fighter. He's got to put the pressure on Crawford. He has to be able to land his big shots. He's seasoned at fighting at super middleweight. He's fought as high as light heavyweight, as we know. So he is accustomed to the bigger punches, the bigger shots. I don't think Crawford can really land anything that's going to trouble a guy like Canelo Alvarez.
And let's be real, you and I both know the size gap is the elephant in the room. Crawford might be slick, but Canelo's built like he was forged out of dumbbells. George is basically saying Bud's got two options: outbox him like a ghost, or get treated like heavy bag number 13 in Canelo's gym. And that prediction? Stoppage. That's George putting his chips on the red side of the table. I respect it, but I'm telling you, if Bud actually pulls this off, half of boxing Twitter gonna delete their old tweets real quick.
I've got two ways this fight, can go. Crawford's way of winning the fight, I truly believe, is he needs to outbox Canelo Alvarez. He needs to, maneuver him and make Canelo second guess himself every single time.
Alright, so after George dropped his two titans clash of eras breakdown, here comes Duke McKenzie swinging in with zero hesitation like, forget the romance, Crawford's about to do a number on Canelo. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel him on this. Duke basically called out Canelo's recent run, said, my guy's been looking more pedestrian than prime time, like he's walking in straight lines at rush hour with no head movement. And when he compared Crawford's switch hitting to a nightmare uppercut buffet waiting to happen, man, I could already see Canelo's guard getting split open. But here's what I like, Duke isn't sugarcoating. He's saying flat out, Crawford's due for that marquee fight, that career-defining masterclass. And if he shows up with the same mean streak he's been talking with at pressers, we might be watching Canelo take more clean shots than a college freshman at happy hour.
Crawford talks with a lot of spite, and he means it. And I think he's going to do a number on Canelo. I really do. And I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised if there's a late stoppage. I wouldn't. I don't think he knocks Canelo down, but Canelo could just be taking so many shots. Referee jumps in and stops the fight.
So Duke McKenzie didn't just stop at saying Crawford's got the style. He went even deeper, like, yo, Canelo might just be cashing in at this stage. That's wild, because when a veteran like Duke starts hinting you're more interested in the bag than the belts, that's basically saying the hunger ain't the same anymore. And if we're being real, that lines up with how some folks been looking at Canelo's recent fights. Flat feet, predictable combos, not the same snap he had when he was bulldozing through guys on his rise. Alright, so Duke just gave us that raw, unfiltered Crawford might torch Canelo energy.
That's not going to beat Crawford. And Crawford ain't about to lay down or swallow or give up. Nowhere in that fight. Crawford will go, if he gets beat, which I sincerely doubt, he's going out on his shield. He's going down fighting. That's his mentality.
And then sliding in comes Dan Rafael. And you know when Dan talks, it's like the encyclopedia of boxing opening up. But here's the twist. He ain't just geeking out. He's hyping this fight like it's the Super Bowl of the sweet science. He's basically saying, forget the last fights. Forget the flat performances. Once these two lock in, it's going to be a whole different beast. And honestly, I feel him. We all saw both guys look kind of mid last time out. But trust me, when legacy's on the line, fighters don't show up half asleep.
I mean, it's a big event. It's probably the biggest event of the year in boxing. They're both great fighters. They're both Hall of Famers in waiting. As a boxing fan, I'm thrilled because it's a very fascinating matchup with two all-time greats. With the obviously caveat that you got Terence Crawford moving up two weight classes to see what he can do against the undisputed champ.
Dan's breaking it down like, Canelo knows he's got the pound-for-pound boogeyman in front of him. And Crawford? He's treating this like the final boss battle. No rematch code, no cheat codes, just straight skill and pride. And me personally, I love this angle because it tells us one thing. We ain't getting sleepy, going through the motions, Canelo. And we ain't getting cautious Bud either. We're getting two legends who know this one locks their place in history forever.
Either guy looked good in their last fight, but I suspect they're going to be a lot more into this fight. You know who you got in front of you in September, and Crawford saying, I'm fighting the great Canelo Alvarez. Canelo's like, I'm fighting the 4-division champ, pound-for-pound type guy, and Crawford that's never lost. I better be really prepared. So I'm hopeful that aspect that they're really tuned in will make it a bigger and better fight.
Alright, final wrap. Canelo versus Crawford ain't just a fight. It's a battle for legacy. NYC Shove lit the fuse. Bivol's ghost hangs over Canelo, and the pundits are split. Hearn playing chess, Fulton giving Bud props, Duke screaming Crawford's coming, and Dan Rafael hyping the stakes. Bottom line, ego, style, weight and history collide. Expect a tactical masterclass or a pressure-driven clinic. Either way, careers get defined. If you enjoyed the breakdown, do the channel a favour, like, share and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters. Tell me in the comments, who's your pick and which round decides it? I'll be in the replies arguing with you, so bring receipts. Hit the bell, follow us on socials, and we'll see you in the next one. Same time, more heat.